Welcome to Tekedia Capital. I'm DBC Ekekwe. This conversation will focus on what we look for in startups as we invest. So I begin by explaining a typical market system. You have the demand, you have the supply, and then there are now opportunities in the marketplace, which are largely the problems or frictions that the customers have. The startup needs to demonstrate to us that it has got frictions, opportunities that he has seen in the marketplace that he wants to go and fix. And those frictions also must be evidently large. We need to see the size of the friction. We want to see the opportunities in the marketplace because these frictions are the challenges that the customers have. And it's only when that startup begins to fix those frictions, then the customers will begin to pay. The payments that the startup receives is basically what we call revenue. So the friction has to be big. And because if the frictions are big, interesting thing, the market opportunities are also big. So when a startup has established that it has got a huge market friction that is going for, the next thing we do, we ask, what are your capabilities? The capabilities are now looking at, do you have the capacity for you to be the one that will go and fix that friction? We're looking at a managerial capability, we're looking at technical capability. And then when we look at it, to say, hey, this particular startup is the deal to go into the marketplace to fix that friction, which is evident, which everyone can see that is actually an opportunity. So as we examine the capability, we now look at your business process, your business model, your playbook, which you want to unleash in the marketplace. Are you going to fix these frictions at the needs of the customer, the level of expectation, or the level of the perceptions of the customer? The perceptions of the customers now are looking at giving them solutions, even at the domain they may not have even imagined. That is the moment that comes. You have met the needs of a customer, you've met the expectation of a customer, but you are not taking that customer on a journey. If you can do that, if you can demonstrate that you have the capacity to do that, certainly we would like to work with you. Because we want companies that can pick consumers, take them into customers, and then take those customers into the level of fandom. Fandom happens when you have built a customer base. They now become apostles for you in the marketplace. They become people that believe in you. They become people that listen for your brand to speak. Just like what happens whenever Apple has an event, the world in a state of pause, waiting for Apple to speak on the next great thing. So we are looking for companies that can take customers from that journey, moving them from consumers to customers to the level of fandom. When we see them, we like to do them. So there has never going to be a greater company in the world than a company that has a big idea that it has seen in the marketplace. And that company has to have the capacity to also build a superior team. Because you need, at the end of the day, to fix, to combine, and recombine factors of production so that that mission, that purpose you have in the marketplace, you can actually accomplish it. So we want to see how will you translate that big idea that you have, that you want to go into the marketplace to fix the friction. How are you going to use that superior, superb team that you have assembled, using them to combine the factors of production which are available for you to actually go and meet that need in the market? So at the end of everything, by you combine the superior team, the superb team, you bring in everything you've got, you need to give an awesome product, a great service into the market, which is now going to help to fix the frictions that the customers have. So we are constantly looking at how these three elements are going to interplay. And of course, at the end of everything, it comes down to superior execution. You will never have a greater company in the world if you do not have superior execution. Because superior execution is basically saying that I have got everything I needed But I also need to have the capacity to translate these great ideas into products and services that customers can actually get in the market and then go back to fix their frictions. So if you go around most part of Sub-Saharan Africa, you see that we are still struggling with potable water. We see that we are still having difficulties with good roads. There's so many challenges. The question is not that people do not have big idea how to go after this. The problem remains that people have not figured out a mechanism to execute in order to fix those frictions, and then by fixing those frictions, they can create leverageable factors that compound and then accelerating returns for stakeholders, not just the investors, but communities as well as for nations. So we are looking for founders, we're looking for startups that can demonstrate that they have the capacity, that tenacity to go into the market and fight. And that fight is the entrepreneurial capitalism that brings innovation to create a new basis of competition, building orthogonal paths different from what every other one is doing, so that at the end of the day, customers will see a clear differentiator. So if a digital company, we're also looking at, do you have access to control demand? How is your marginal cost improving with scale? Do you have the one oasis? How are you going to extract value through the double play strategy? And we're also looking at, are you playing at the edges of the smiling curve? Because if you play at the edges of the smiling curve, you get more value. But if not, and you are playing at the center of the smiling curve, where you could see that the value is not very, very high. We want to see, how do you transition, besides being at the center of the smiling curve, you can also have the capacity to participate at the edges of the smiling curve, where you can see right the vertical size that the value is there. So we are looking for pioneers. We are looking for people that can change the destinies of people through entrepreneurial capitalism, because nations, communities rise when entrepreneurial capitalism begins to penetrate, begin to permeate into society, helping to fix frictions, and then helping to liberate the minds, helping to liberate societies out of the frictions that have entangled them. There's never going to be a greater community than a community that have innovators that can go to solve problems. So we want to meet you, want to have an opportunity of having a conversation with you, want to have an opportunity providing you capital, a factor of production, and giving you construct, model, processes, system, true knowledge, understanding of the frameworks that underpin the modern digital system and the modern business climate, so that at the end of the whole, we can advance our communities. Let's speak, let's talk. Tekedia Capital.